Most people go through life chasing goals, collecting achievements, and ticking boxes, yet still feel an emptiness they can't explain. They get the promotion, buy the house, take the vacation, but deep down, they wonder, is this it? That question is not a sign of failure, it's a signal. A signal that you haven't yet aligned your actions with your deeper purpose. Purpose is not the same as success. Success is a moment. Purpose is a direction. Success is winning the race. Purpose is why you're running in the first place. Without purpose, success becomes short-lived, even hollow. But when you live with purpose, every achievement feels richer, and even setbacks have meaning. The first step in discovering your purpose is to stop looking for it in the future and start looking for it in your past. Your life has been leaving you clues, moments when you felt truly alive, deeply engaged, or completely fulfilled. These aren't random, they're patterns. Maybe you were helping someone, solving a problem, creating something, or standing up for something you believed in. The question is, what was the common thread? Second, understand that purpose is rarely about you. It's about how you impact others. It's about the role you play in the lives of people, communities, or causes. When your work serves something greater than yourself, it taps into an energy that doesn't burn out easily. You're no longer just doing a job, you're contributing to a mission. Third, you have to accept that purpose isn't always glamorous. Sometimes it looks ordinary, even invisible to others. Raising a child, supporting a struggling friend, building something quietly, these can be acts of profound purpose. Society may not applaud them, but purpose doesn't need applause, it needs commitment. Fourth, discovering your purpose requires courage. Courage to say no to paths that don't align with your deeper why. Courage to risk disappointing others in order to be true to yourself. Courage to walk away from the safe option in pursuit of something that feels right, even if it scares you. Finally, purpose is not something you find once and keep forever. It evolves as you grow. The purpose you have at 20 may not be the same at 40, and that's okay. Life shapes you, and as you change, so will the way you serve. The key is to stay curious, reflective, and open to where your heart and values guide you next. When you live with purpose, you don't just wake up, you rise. You rise with intention, with clarity, and with a sense of meaning that carries you through both good and hard days. And that is when life stops being something you simply get through and becomes something you truly live. 5 keynotes of the speech: purpose is not about achieving success. It's about understanding why you're striving in the first place. Your past experiences hold clues to the moments and values that define your deeper calling. True purpose often serves others and contributes to something larger than yourself. Living with purpose requires courage to make choices that align with your values, even when they're difficult. Purpose evolves over time. Stay open, reflective, and willing to grow with it. Purpose is not about achieving success. It's about understanding why you're striving in the first place. This is a truth that many overlook in their pursuit of life goals. From a young age, we are taught to aim for success, whether that's measured by grades, promotions, money, recognition, or status. We chase these milestones thinking they are the ultimate destination, yet many who reach them realize something feels missing. That missing piece is often the understanding of why they wanted those things to begin with. Without a clear why, success can feel strangely empty, like climbing a mountain only to find there's nothing at the top. When you focus solely on achieving success, you are often driven by external rewards, approval from others, societal expectations, or the allure of material comfort. While these can be motivating in the short term, they don't create lasting fulfillment. Achievements gained without a deeper sense of purpose tend to lose their shine quickly. The excitement fades, and you're left searching for the next goal, caught in a cycle of constant striving with no deeper meaning anchoring your actions. Purpose, on the other hand, provides that anchor. It's the reason you get up in the morning, the inner compass that guides your choices, and the fuel that keeps you going even when progress is slow or setbacks occur. Understanding your why means going beneath the surface of your ambitions. If you want a promotion, ask yourself why. Is it just for the title and salary, or is it because you want to lead a team, mentor others, or create positive change in your organization? If you dream of starting a business, dig deeper. Is it only to be your own boss, or is it because you want to solve a problem you care deeply about? These deeper reasons connect your goals to something more meaningful than mere achievement. They connect them to your sense of purpose. Purpose changes how you approach challenges. When success is your only aim, obstacles feel like roadblocks that slow you down. They're frustrating, discouraging, and sometimes enough to make you quit. But when you're driven by purpose, obstacles take on a different meaning. They become part of the process, tests that refine your character, strengthen your skills, and deepen your commitment. You're more willing to endure difficulties because you're not just chasing a result. You're living out something that matters to you at a fundamental level. Another distinction between success and purpose is the impact on others. Success often centers on personal gain, what you achieve, what you earn, and how you are perceived. Purpose extends beyond the self. It asks, who benefits from what I do, and how does this contribute to something greater? A person who teaches because they believe in shaping young minds will find far more lasting satisfaction than someone who teaches solely for a paycheck. The paycheck may provide temporary motivation, but the belief in shaping futures will sustain them through the hardest days in the classroom. It's also important to recognize that success is situational. It can be lost, changed, or redefined by circumstances beyond your control. A job title can be taken away, a business can fail, markets can shift, but purpose is internal, it lives within you. Even if your circumstances change, your why remains, and you can find new ways to live it out. This makes purpose a far more stable foundation for your life than success alone could ever be. The irony is that when you focus on purpose instead of just success, you often achieve greater and more meaningful forms of success anyway. People are drawn to those who are passionate and authentic. They trust them, support them, and want to work with them. A leader who genuinely cares about their team's growth will often inspire better results than one focused solely on hitting targets. An artist who creates from a place of deep personal meaning will produce work that resonates far more than something made just to sell. Purpose fuels quality, and quality tends to lead to recognition. The journey toward understanding your why requires self-reflection and honesty. It's about asking hard questions and being willing to face the answers, even if they challenge the path you're currently on. It may mean realizing that what you've been chasing isn't truly what you want, or that you've been pursuing someone else's definition of success instead of your own. This can be unsettling, but it's also liberating. When you realign your goals with your purpose, your efforts gain depth and your results gain meaning. Purpose is the difference between living reactively, constantly responding to opportunities and demands, and living intentionally, where your choices are guided by a clear sense of meaning. Without that clarity, you risk spending years climbing a ladder that's leaning against the wrong wall. But when you understand why you're striving, every step becomes part of a larger story, one that reflects not just what you did, but why you did it. And that why is what transforms ordinary achievements into a life that feels rich, significant, and deeply your own. Your past experiences hold clues to the moments and values that define your deeper calling. Many people believe they must look far into the future to discover their purpose, as if it's hidden somewhere they haven't reached yet. In reality, the truest hints about your purpose are often behind you, woven into the experiences that have already shaped who you are. Every meaningful moment, every challenge overcome, every time you felt deeply fulfilled, they all leave patterns. These patterns are the breadcrumbs leading you to your deeper why. Think back to the moments in your life when you felt most alive. They might not have been grand or publicly recognized. They could have been simple yet powerful. Helping someone in need, creating something with your own hands, solving a difficult problem, speaking up for something you believed in. These moments stand out not because they were necessarily the most successful or impressive on paper, but because they touched something within you that felt natural, right, and significant. When you identify these moments, you begin to see that they share common themes, and those themes often point toward your purpose. Your past also reveals what truly matters to you. For example, if you look back and notice that some of your proudest memories involve guiding others, it may mean that mentorship or leadership is at the core of your purpose. If your most fulfilling times were spent creating art, writing, or innovating, your calling may be tied to creativity and expression. If you were deeply moved by helping a friend through a crisis, perhaps service, empathy, or advocacy is part of your path. These aren't random occurrences. They are reflections of your inner values manifesting in your actions. Not every moment in your past will be joyful, and that's important too. Often, our struggles and hardships carry some of the deepest insights into our purpose. Pain can shape perspective. Maybe you endured a personal loss that made you passionate about supporting others in similar situations. Maybe you faced injustice and now feel a strong drive to fight for fairness and equality. Maybe you overcame a challenge that taught you resilience, and now you feel compelled to help others find their strength. The human tendency is to avoid revisiting painful memories, but those very experiences can illuminate the causes and missions that mean the most to you. Looking at your past with this lens requires reflection, not judgment. You're not evaluating whether you succeeded or failed. You're observing how those experiences made you feel, what they awakened in you, and what they taught you about what matters. Even the moments when you felt drained or unfulfilled are valuable. They teach you what to avoid, what doesn't align with your values, and what takes you further from your true path. These lessons are as important as the ones that draw you closer to your calling. Your past is also a record of your natural tendencies. Think about the roles you've naturally gravitated toward, even when they weren't required. Were you the one friends turned to for advice? Did you often step into immediate conflicts? Did you find yourself volunteering to organize, lead, or create without being asked? These patterns often emerge unconsciously, but they reflect strengths and instincts that point toward where your purpose lies. When you recognize them, you can see how they have been quietly guiding your decisions all along. Sometimes the most powerful clues in your past are moments of flow, times when you became so absorbed in an activity that you lost track of time. Flow happens when your skills and passions align so perfectly with the task at hand that everything else fades away. These moments aren't just enjoyable, they're signals. They indicate that you are engaging in something that resonates with your deeper self. Recalling these moments can help you understand the kind of work or contribution that will continue to bring you fulfillment in the future. It's worth noting that purpose doesn't always emerge from one single defining moment. For most people, it's a combination of many experiences layered over time. Think of your past as a tapestry. with each thread representing a different moment, some bright with joy, others dark with challenge, but together forming a picture that reveals your values, your strengths, and the ways you're naturally inclined to contribute. The more threads you examine, the clearer the image becomes. When you take the time to reflect deeply on your history, you stop chasing purpose as something distant and start recognizing it as something that has always been present, waiting to be acknowledged. The clues are already there in the choices you made when you were free to act, in the activities that made you feel alive, in the causes that stirred your heart, and even in the struggles that shaped your resilience. By understanding these clues, you're not just reminiscing, you're uncovering a pattern that points toward the work, relationships, and contributions that will bring your life its deepest meaning. True purpose often serves others and contributes to something larger than yourself. While personal goals and ambitions are important, a life driven solely by self-interest tends to feel narrow and unfulfilling over time. Human beings are inherently wired for connection, and the deepest sense of meaning often comes from the ways we impact the world around us. This doesn't mean you have to dedicate your life to grand causes or global movements, though some will, but rather that your purpose gains power and depth when it extends beyond your own needs and desires. When your actions serve others, they create a ripple effect. A small act of kindness, a moment of guidance, or a bit of encouragement can have consequences far greater than you might ever see. You may help someone in a way that changes the course of their life, and they may go on to influence others in turn. This kind of impact doesn't always make headlines, but it builds something lasting, an invisible chain of positive change that stretches far beyond you. Knowing that your work, your words, or your presence has made a difference in someone else's life adds a layer of fulfillment that personal achievement alone can't provide. Serving others also shifts your focus from external validation to internal satisfaction. When you're driven by a cause greater than yourself, you're less likely to be swayed by trends, competition, or comparison. You measure your progress not just by what you gain, but by what you give. This doesn't mean neglecting your own needs, but it does mean that your sense of success becomes more stable because it's tied to contribution rather than circumstance. Even when external rewards are slow to come, the act of knowing you've helped or contributed keeps you motivated. It's important to remember that serving others doesn't have to mean working in charity, volunteering full time, or dedicating your life to a single cause, though for some it will. Service can be embedded in any profession or lifestyle. A teacher serves by shaping young minds. A business owner serves by creating jobs and solving problems for customers. An artist serves by inspiring, challenging, or comforting through their work. A parent serves by nurturing and guiding the next generation. The form your service takes is less important than the intention behind it to leave people, situations, or the world a little better than you found it. One of the most rewarding aspects of aligning your purpose with service is the sense of connection it fosters. When your efforts are tied to the well-being of others, you become part of something bigger, a community, a mission, a shared human story. This connection can be deeply sustaining, especially in difficult times. It reminds you that your work matters not just to you, but to people whose lives are touched by it. This sense of belonging and shared purpose can carry you through challenges that might otherwise feel overwhelming if you were only working for yourself. There is also a resilience that comes from living for something larger than yourself. Personal goals can sometimes lose their appeal when the going gets tough. But when you're working toward a mission that serves others, you find strength you didn't know you had. You push through not just for your own sake, but for the people or because you care about. This kind of motivation often runs deeper and lasts longer than the drive for personal success alone. It gives you a reason to keep going when everything else feels uncertain. Serving others as part of your purpose also broadens your perspective. It challenges you to see the world through different eyes, to understand needs and struggles you might not have experienced yourself. This empathy doesn't just make you a better contributor, it makes you a better human being. It deepens your capacity for compassion, patience, and understanding, qualities that not only strengthen your relationships, but also enrich your sense of self. Even in small ways, aligning your purpose with service helps you leave a legacy. Long after achievements fade from memory, the lives you've touched will continue to carry the influence of your actions. This could be through lessons you've taught, opportunities you've created, or even the example you've set simply by living with integrity and care for others. A legacy built on service is one that endures because it's not confined to your lifetime. It lives on in the people you've influenced. Ultimately, when you recognize that true purpose often serves others, you begin to measure life differently. Success becomes less about accumulation and more about contribution. Your milestones are not just promotions or awards, but moments when you've made a difference. The satisfaction that comes from knowing your efforts have created value for others is a quiet but powerful reward, one that continues to grow the more you live in alignment with it. When your life is not only about what you achieve, but about how you elevate those around you, you step into a purpose that is richer, deeper, and far more enduring than any personal victory could ever be. Living with purpose requires courage to make choices that align with your values, even when they're difficult. It's easy to talk about purpose when life is comfortable, when the decisions ahead are straightforward, and when those decisions also happen to align with what's expected of you. But the true test of purpose comes when the path you know you need to take is not the one others want for you, or when it demands that you step away from safety and into uncertainty. Courage in this sense is not about being fearless, it's about acting in alignment with your deeper values despite the fear. When you live with purpose, you inevitably face moments where the easier option is to compromise. You may be offered opportunities that promise quick rewards, but require you to abandon what matters most to you. You might be tempted to follow the crowd for approval, even though your heart knows it's not your path. In those moments, courage is the force that keeps you anchored to your true north. It's the quiet voice that says, stay true to who you are, even when it feels uncomfortable, unpopular, or uncertain. One of the hardest parts about having courage and purpose-driven living is the risk of disappointing others. Friends, family, or colleagues may have certain expectations for you, shaped by their own values, fears, or desires. When you choose differently, when you say no to the stable job to pursue meaningful work, or when you refuse to take a shortcut that violates your integrity, you may be met with confusion, criticism, or even resistance. This is where courage matters most, because purpose is personal. No one else can fully understand the depth of your calling, and sometimes the validation you want will not come from others. It has to come from within. Courage is also required when purpose asks you to step into the unknown. The truth is that a meaningful path is rarely fully mapped out. You might know the direction, but not the exact steps ahead. This uncertainty can be intimidating, especially in a world that rewards certainty and quick results. Many people stay in situations that feel safe but unfulfilling simply because they're afraid of not knowing what comes next. Courage is the willingness to take a step forward without having the full picture, trusting that your values will guide you through the gaps. There will be times when aligning with your purpose means making sacrifices. You might have to turn down opportunities that would look impressive on paper, but don't fit your deeper why. You might need to leave environments that don't support your values, even if they provide comfort or stability. You might have to endure criticism, rejection, or temporary setbacks because you're refusing to compromise what matters most. These sacrifices are not easy, but they are the price of integrity. Over time, they strengthen you because every time you choose in alignment with your values, you reinforce your own self-respect and confidence. Courage also plays a role in facing your own internal resistance. Often, the person you have to convince most is yourself. Doubt, fear of failure, fear of judgment, these can be louder than any external opposition. It takes courage to challenge your own limiting beliefs, to push through the voice that says you're not ready or that you're not capable. Purpose doesn't eliminate self-doubt, but it gives you a reason to move forward in spite of it. Living with courage and purpose also means being willing to stand alone at times. The road that aligns with your values may not always be crowded. There may be moments where it feels like no one else understands your choices. In those times, the temptation to give in, to fit in, can be strong. But courage reminds you that it's better to walk alone in the right direction than to follow a crowd toward a destination that leaves you empty. An important aspect of courage and purposeful living is patience. Courage isn't only about bold, dramatic action. Sometimes it's about the steady endurance required to stay on course when progress is slow. It's the courage to keep showing up, to keep doing the work, even when there are no immediate signs of success. Purpose is a long-term commitment, and it takes strength to continue believing in it through the seasons of doubt and delay. In the end, courage is the bridge between knowing your purpose and living it. Many people discover what matters to them, but never fully embrace it because they aren't willing to face the discomfort that comes with change. Courage is what transforms purpose from an idea in your mind to a reality in your life. It's what allows you to not just dream about a life of meaning, but to create it step by step, even when the path is uncertain, the stakes are high, and the world around you doesn't always understand your choices. Purpose evolves over time. Stay open, reflective, and willing to grow with it. Many people assume that once they discover their purpose, it remains fixed for the rest of their lives, like a final answer to a lifelong question. But the truth is that purpose is far more dynamic than that. It shifts and expands as you experience life, face new challenges, and learn more about yourself and the world around you. What feels deeply meaningful at one stage of life may not carry the same weight later, and that's not a sign that you've lost your way. It's a sign that you've grown. When you are younger, your sense of purpose might be tied to exploration and self-discovery. You may feel driven to build your skills, prove yourself, or create opportunities that set the foundation for your future. In this stage, purpose can often be outwardly focused on achieving milestones that establish your identity. But as you mature, you may find that your priorities shift. The experiences you've had, the successes, the failures, the relationships, the lessons reshape what matters to you. You might realize that the goals that once inspired you no longer feel as important, and that your purpose now lies in different areas, such as giving back, mentoring others, or pursuing a cause that you've grown passionate about. Life itself has a way of expanding and refining your purpose. Unexpected events, both joyful and painful, can change how you see the world. The birth of a child might awaken a sense of responsibility and nurture in you that becomes central to your life direction. Losing someone close could deepen your empathy and drive you to help others in similar pain. Facing a personal challenge might inspire you to use your experience to guide and encourage others. These shifts don't mean your earlier purpose was wrong. They mean that your purpose is alive, adapting to the person you are becoming. Staying open to this evolution requires self-awareness. It means regularly pausing to reflect on your life, asking yourself whether your current path still aligns with your values, passions, and strengths. It's easy to become so caught up in routine that you keep moving in the same direction simply because it's familiar. But if you never stop to reassess, you risk clinging to a purpose that no longer fits who you are. By creating space for reflection, through journaling conversations or moments of quiet, you give yourself the chance to notice when it's time for your purpose to grow in a new direction. A willingness to adapt your purpose also requires letting go of the fear of change. Sometimes we hold tightly to an old purpose because it has become part of our identity. It can feel unsettling to admit that something we once cared deeply about no longer holds the same meaning. But growth often requires releasing what no longer serves you so you can embrace what's next. Just as a tree sheds leaves in the autumn to prepare for new growth in the spring, you must sometimes release parts of your past purpose to make space for a new one to emerge. It's also important to recognize that different seasons of life may call for different expressions of your purpose. Your core values, the principles that guide your decisions, may remain consistent, but the way you live them out can change. For example, if your value is compassion, your purpose in your 20s might involve volunteering internationally, while in your 40s it might center on mentoring or supporting your local community. The essence of your purpose remains, but its form evolves with your circumstances, skills, and resources. Being willing to grow with your purpose also means staying curious. Curiosity keeps you open to new experiences, perspectives, and opportunities that can shape and enrich your sense of meaning. It encourages you to explore beyond your comfort zone, to try things that may surprise you, and to engage with people and ideas that challenge your current worldview. Every new insight or skill you gain can add another layer to your purpose, making it richer and more nuanced. Finally, embracing the evolution of your purpose helps you navigate life's inevitable transitions with greater resilience. Careers change, relationships shift, and circumstances evolve. But when you see your purpose as something that can grow alongside you, these changes feel less like disruptions and more like invitations. Instead of clinging to what was, you can ask, what is my purpose calling me to now? This mindset turns uncertainty into possibility and helps you remain grounded even in times of change. When you accept that your purpose is not a fixed destination, but a living, breathing journey you give yourself permission to keep becoming, you allow your life's meaning to expand as you do, making your path richer, more authentic, and better aligned with the person you are in each season of your life. Discovering your true purpose in life is not about chasing a single achievement or reaching one final destination. It's about aligning every step you take with a deeper reason for living. Purpose gives meaning to success, turns challenges into lessons, and transforms your actions into contributions that matter beyond yourself. It is found in the patterns of your past, in the ways you serve others, in the courage to stay true to your values, and in the openness to let it evolve as you grow. When you live with purpose, you stop merely existing and start living intentionally. Each day becomes more than just time passing. It becomes part of a story that reflects who you are, what you stand for, and the difference you choose to make. And that, more than any title, possession, or recognition, is what makes a life truly worth living.